रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वंदे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं। परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्यमीश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। हरे कृष्ण। Okay, so this is one of the most important sessions of this entire Gita course. I'm very happy that some of you are very much interested and you are sincerely trying to attend these sessions. So the title of this session is One God or Many Gods. But before we start this discussion, can we quickly revise something from the previous session? Let's try to understand how much we are able to recollect and remember. Do you remember what was the previous discussion? Who am I? So what was the essence of it? Need not tell me everything, but some essence, like whatever you recollect, whatever you remember. Yes.
We are not the mind, not the body, but we are the soul.
We are not the mind, we are not the body, we are not the intelligence even, we are the spirit soul. This is the essence. And then anything else? We discussed various types of body. What are they? Okay. Subtle, gross and spiritual. Anything else? Two types of? Okay.
Red car needs to be removed.
There is a red car that needs to be removed. Parking issue. Yes, two types of body, temporary and permanent. What is temporary identity?
Name, religion, gender.
Okay. And what is permanent identity?
Our spirit soul is a permanent identity.
Our spirit soul is our permanent identity. Okay. Anything else?
Soul is permanent, everything else is temporary.
Soul is permanent, even God is permanent. Everything else is actually God is permanent and soul is part and parcel of God. That is why we are permanent. Because God is permanent, that's why we are permanent. And everything else around us which is not spiritual, that is material, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and ego, they are just material energies of the Lord. They are annihilated from time to time. Even during annihilation, the conservation of energy is maintained. And we have studied now.
One more red card.
All the red cards. There is one more. 0132. Another red card. Okay, so let's begin today's discussion. One God or many gods. How many of you coming for the first time today? Anybody? First time? Last time? इसके बाद हम आएंगे नहीं. Okay, one God or many gods. The agenda for today's discussion is, why so many scriptures and religions? What is Sanatana Dharma? Is God personal or impersonal? who is God, the four tattvas, a little bit about the demigods, and then we'll get into the group chanting. So today's session, it's kind of a very broad way in which we will touch various topics. We will touch the surface of various topics, because going into deep is, or going into the depth of these topics is little bit beyond the subject matter, beyond the time limit, and beyond the course syllabus also. As much as possible, we will try to discuss these. The whole agenda of today's discussion is to come with a conclusion on these topics and have a broad understanding of these topics. So shall we begin? Are we ready? Why know so many scriptures and different religions? Generally people say if there is one creator, then there should be one religion and one scripture. That would be less confusing, right? Do you think? Don't you think? If there is one religion, one scripture, you see this photo, it will be less confusing. But don't you think it will also be less accommodating? Yes or no? Different people have different natures, different swabhava, different samskaras, based on which they need different kind of approach. For instance, if somebody is a smoker and they smoke 10 cigarettes a day, then if they go to the doctor will prescribe them that, okay, you please smoke only 5 cigarettes a day now. And let's say somebody is smoking 1 or 2 cigarettes a day, the same doctor will prescribe you immediately quit smoking. So based on the conditioning, different approaches are required. But this, when not understood in the right perspective, becomes a cause of anarchy and a cause of fights, disputes. The same doctor is telling to one person you smoke 5 cigarettes, and the same doctor is telling one person you quit smoking. So people don't understand the context and they fight. Your religion is wrong, my religion is right, my religion is the best religion, my God is the actual God, your God is a fictional character. These kind of discussions they start. So therefore, the ideal understanding is that actually there is only one religion and one scripture only. However, the same religion and the same scripture, that is word of God, has been given to different audiences. And when it is being given, it is given according to different time, place and circumstances. Different time, different place and different circumstances. Also, it is given according to the ability to, the audience has different ability to digest, and the preacher who's trying to preach or the message which is trying to be given should not be rejected by the people also. And the truth should be revealed based on the degree of advancement of the audience. For instance, if there is a second standard student and if I ask him or her, what is 5 minus 2? So they'll give the answer. What will be the answer? What is the answer? 3. But the same student, if I ask what is 2 minus 5, what they'll say? Sorry? They'll say printing mistake hua hai question paper mein. 2 minus 3 is not possible only. Or 5, 2 minus 5 is not possible only. So degree of understanding is different. Similarly, suppose if you want to explain to a first standard student how food is digested, how you'll explain? Probably you'll say, you have to eat and then you have to go out and play and food will be digested. But if you want to explain this to a 10th standard student, how will you explain? You'll start drawing the digestive system, small intestine, large intestine, this chemical, that secretion, digestion, etc., etc. And the same thing has to be explained to let's say, an MBBS student. How you'll explain? You'll go into unlimited details, molecular level. Now, which of them is correct? The first standard explanation, or the 10th standard explanation, or the MBBS explanation? All are correct. Correct, no? However, there is so much difference and so much, all these three answers will look as if they are completely different answers. But it requires a broader perspective, it requires a maturity, and it requires spiritual advancement to understand that actually they are the same answers. Only the level of detail varies. So this is the main reason why there are different scriptures and different religions. Actually, there is one religion only. Religion means to love God and try to serve Him. And scripture means the instructions which are coming for the conditioned souls so that they can go closer to God. That is scripture. But based on the various audience, based on the various time, place and circumstances, based on the level of advancement of the audience, based on their ability to digest and not reject, the same truth is presented in different ways. Did you get the answer? Does this help you to have a broader perspective now? So which is the best religion? Any religion which helps you to become a lover of God is the best religion. We are all following some schools of philosophy and some schools of religion. Ask yourself, is your religion pushing you to become a lover of God, or is it pushing you to treat God as an order supplier, or is it pushing you to serve God so that you don't go to hell, or is it pushing you to love and serve God? Ask yourself. Is your religion just a set of rituals which you don't know why you are doing what you are doing, simply you are doing? These questions need to be asked. Before that, I would like to describe what is Sanatana Dharma. Can I get some basic opinion about what is Sanatana Dharma? What do you think is Sanatana Dharma? Sorry?
Sanatana means no bar, no end.
No bar and no end. So this is the meaning of Sanatana Dharma. That which has no bar and no end. Any other answer?
Eternal truth.
Eternal truth. Some people say Sanatana Dharma means Hinduism. What do you have to comment about this? गर्व से कहो हम सनातनी हैं. What does it mean? Yes, this is a discussion. There is no, don't have any. See, suppose in case if you give a wrong answer, we will not remove the gulab jamun from your plate today. It's a discussion. गलत आंसर दिया, इसको स्वीट मत देना, ऐसा नहीं होता है. So tell me, is the understanding that I am a Hindu, therefore I am a Sanatani, is it the right understanding, incorrect understanding, immature understanding, incomplete understanding, or the correct understanding?
So,
Yes.
incomplete understanding, because
Why?
Hinduism, the word is we have adopted from some other
Correct.
culture,
Correct.
but the essence, the Hinduism that follows is the Sanatana Dharma.
Okay. So are the Muslims following Sanatana Dharma?
Not sure.
Not sure. Okay, let's see the definition of Sanatana Dharma. The word Sanatan means eternal and Dharma means my intrinsic characteristic which never changes. My natural duty is called Dharma. As I have already explained, Dharma doesn't mean Hinduism, Christianity. Dharma means what is the natural duty. You are a spirit soul, so what is the natural duty of a soul? Don't look at this. There's nothing to see there. to serve God. That is the natural duty. So the eternal principles which guide you to serve God is Sanatana Dharma. Now you tell me, is Christianity Sanatana Dharma? Yes or no? Yes, it is Sanatana Dharma. Doesn't it teach you to love God and serve God?
But if you go into the details, how
Don't go into the details.
then yes.
I'm discussing, see, if you go into the details of the so-called Hinduism also, there are so many contradictions. But I see no contradictions, because the essence of all contemporary religions is to love God and try to serve Him. So therefore, everything is an expansion, or everything is a reflection of the Sanatana Dharma. So now let's see. The eternal constitutional position of the immortal soul is to be a loving servant of God. This is my Sanatana Dharma. Now, which religion teaches you to go against this principle? There are confusions, there are misunderstandings, there are misinterpretations, there is fanaticism, there is favoritism, but essentially, doesn't every religion teach you this? Now, I'm quoting from a book called Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is the living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna. Why? Because he is the marginal energy of Krishna and a manifestation simultaneously one with and different from the Lord, like a molecular particle of sunshine or fire. Krishna has three varieties of energies. The three energies of Krishna are Antarang Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. The entire spiritual world, the incarnations of Krishna, the expansions of Krishna, the personal associates of Krishna, they are all composed of the internal energy of Krishna called the Antaranga Shakti. The material world, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, everything which is material is Bahiranga Shakti, external energy. Internal energy, external energy. And there is something called as Tatastha Shakti or marginal potency, marginal energy, that is the soul, spirit souls, Jiva Tattva. Why they are called marginal? Because sometimes they are under the influence of the internal energy and sometimes they are under the influence of external energy. If somebody wants to serve Krishna, and if somebody wants to follow the instructions of Krishna, they are under the internal energy of Krishna. And if somebody has become envious of Krishna or tries to enjoy separately from God, tries to become God, then they will be influenced by Maya, that is the external energy of Krishna. So we as spirit souls, now in this world, whether somebody is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a Sikh, is that person a spirit soul or not? Are they not the marginal potency of God? Sometimes they are under the influence of the internal energy, sometimes they are under the influence of external energy. The residents of the spiritual world are always under the influence of internal energy. In the material world, there is a competition going on. Sometimes devotee, sometimes atheist. So therefore, the Sanatana Dharma, which we are talking about here, is take shelter of the internal energy of God, take shelter of the message of Krishna, take shelter of the instructions of Krishna, and try to dedicate your life in the service of God and go back home, back to Godhead. This is the Sanatana Dharma. Now this is represented in various ways, but this is the essence. So Sanatana Dharma is the essence of all religions, but the different methodologies or the different schools of Sanatana Dharma, they have evolved in various times. For example, Islam has evolved 1300 years ago. Christianity has evolved around 2000 years ago. Buddhism, Jainism, they have evolved around 2500 years ago. The Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5000 years ago. But if you read the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, shloka number 1 and 2, Krishna says that this Bhagavad Gita is eternal. The Bhagavad Gita was told first to the Surya Devata, whose name is Vivaswan. And then Vivaswan spoke this to Manu. Manu spoke to Ikshvaku. In the dynasty of Ikshvaku, Lord Ram had appeared. So Lord Ram also studied Bhagavad Gita. And then, when the chain of disciplic succession, when the passing on of the message of Bhagavad Gita became, say, the teachers, they did not teach the descendants, or the teachers, they didn't teach the students, as a result of which this message was lost. Then every time when this message is lost, Krishna comes again and re-establishes it by instructing the Bhagavad Gita to someone. That's why when Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. When he says, whenever and wherever the principles of religion decline. So here religion doesn't mean Hinduism. Please understand that if you think that Krishna is an Indian god or a Hindu god, probably you are the biggest idiot. Sorry to say. This means that you have never studied the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Sarva yoneshu kaunteya aham bij pradapita. And people keep fighting. Oh, Hindu god ko aisa bola, Muslim god ko aisa nahi bola. This is nonsense. Lack of understanding of the principles of spiritual life. So, Krishna, whenever and wherever people start thinking that economic development is more important, fulfillment of my desires is more important, performance of ritualistic ceremonies is more important, and escaping the miseries of this world is more important, at that time religion has declined. Because people are thinking, by making better roads and by making better aeroplanes, I will become happy in life. That will be the success of my life. No. So, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. When people start thinking dharma, artha and kam and moksha are more important than bhakti, at that time Krishna descends. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam dharmasya. That time he will re-establish the original principles of dharma. What is the original principle of dharma? Jivera swarup hai krishnera nityadas. The original dharma is that the living entity, Jivatma, the prime most or the most primary duty of the Jivatma is to be a loving servant of God. This is established by Krishna. That is why after speaking the entire Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya. Abandon all religions and just surrender to me. This is the essence. That is Sanatana Dharma. So Sanatana Dharma exists since the dawn of creation. In fact, even when creation had not happened, Sanatana Dharma was there. And every time the creation happens, the secondary creation happens, demigods like Brahma appear, and from the mouth of Brahma, the same knowledge is transmitted in the heart of Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikaviye Muhyanti Tatsurya. In the heart of Brahma, this original knowledge is revealed, and then Brahma teaches it to Narada, Narada teaches it to Vyasa, and like that it goes on and on and on. So this is the essence of all religions. It is Sanatana Dharma. Is it clear now? Sanatana Dharma means eternal principles of religion which are coming from God, which help one to become a devotee of God. This is Sanatana, which helps one to become lover of God. If your so-called religion is making you a hater of other religions, sorry to say, you are not following any religion. If your religion teaches you that human life is meant for enjoyment, not tapasya, sorry to say, you are confused. If your religion teaches you that your life is more important than the life of animals whom you can kill and eat, sorry to say, it is a very misinterpreted version of religion. If your religion teaches you that the purpose of life is to do sense gratification and do some yajnas and then go to Swarga in next life and enjoy with Urushi and Rambha, sorry to say, that is cheating religion. So let's see some of the similarities in various religions. All the religions say these points, that there is one supreme God, Love, respect, and be grateful to God, nature, and all the living entities. Learn our lessons in this temporary world, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, and return to the eternal kingdom of God. These are the similarities in all religions. Now, based on the ability to understand, based on the spiritual advancement of the audience, and based on the avoidance criteria of the audience, that is different time, place, and circumstances, the same truth is revealed. So that variation in ability to understand, avoidance, advancement, time, place, and circumstances makes different religions look different. What are some of the differences? Let's see. Bible, Lord Jesus Christ says, "Ye men of less faith, I have a lot to tell you, but you cannot understand it now." Some grammar mistake I have made in writing. So Jesus Christ did tell that I have a lot to speak, but you are not advanced enough to understand right now. So therefore I cannot tell. Point to be noted that in the Aquarian Gospel it is mentioned that from a particular age, I think it's the age of 14 or 15, till the age of 30, Jesus Christ, I don't know which all places Jesus Christ visited, but definitely it is mentioned that he was in Jagannath Puri. So therefore all the preaching cycle and the preaching career of Jesus Christ starts at the age of 30. And the Aquarian Gospel says that till the age of 30 he was in India, trying to learn the principles of Sanatana Dharma. And whatever he learned, why Jesus Christ is highly respected? Because he presented the message of God as it is. He did not adulterate anything. However, you know who the primary audience of Jesus Christ was? Fishermen. Now, how much can fishermen understand? There is so much limitation when you teach to fishermen, correct? So based on the audience, he said that I have a lot to tell you, but you are not in a position to understand it. So therefore, I will explain only this much. In the Quran, it is said, you shall not have sex with your mother, sister, and daughter. Now, someone can claim this line is not there in Bhagavad Gita. That means Bhagavad Gita says you should have sex with your mother, sister, and daughter. Correct? No. The audience to which Prophet Muhammad was speaking, they needed this message. Because he was primarily speaking to some warring tribes. There were some tribes who were continuously in conflict with each other. They used to kill each other for property, possessions, etc. And the standard of cleanliness was quite low. They were not having the intellect to differentiate. That's why Prophet Muhammad said this, that you can have as many wives as you can do whatever you want, but at least spare your mother, sister, and daughter. Now, these kind of statements need not to be told to Arjuna or to the people of the Vedic culture, because they are already advanced. It's a different class of audience. Please understand. So therefore, I am reciting the 7th chapter, 2nd shloka of Bhagavad Gita, which says, where Krishna says, I shall declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So in a sense, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling that this is the perfection of knowledge. And you are qualified to get it, Arjuna. What is your qualification? Bhakto sime sakha cheti. You are my devotee and you are a non-envious person who has a friendly serving attitude towards me. So therefore I will reveal the complete knowledge to you, and after hearing this, nothing else is further to be known. So the same eternal principles of religion is being revealed based on the ability to digest, advancement of the audience, in order to avoid rejection, and according to time, place, and circumstances. That is why different religions look different. But in a broader perspective, it's all the same. However, the level of details vary, as you people only highlighted. So in the Vedic culture or in the Vedic books, Vedic scriptures, the highest level of details are there. And from our analysis, it is very easy to conclude that the Vedic culture or the Vedic literatures or scriptures, they are meant for the highest and the most advanced society of humans. However, this does not put down the other expansions or interpretations of the same message of God based on time, place, and circumstances. So, therefore, there are 4 levels or the 4 ways in which people approach God. First is fear. The statements like either you follow God or you'll go and burn in hell for the rest of eternity. So some people understand this language. They don't love God. They don't want to serve God. They are afraid of God. Still, this class of people are better than the atheists. The second P reason why people approach God is with desires. Oh God, give us our daily bread. The third is at the level of duty. They feel that God has given me so much, so it is my duty to serve God. Out of duty, out of sense of duty, they serve. But here also there is some amount of pride which is there here. That look at me, I am so nice. I am trying to serve God. Others are not serving God. They are not up to my level. So in this way there is a tendency to look down upon others. Yeah. And lastly is the prema platform or love. It is unconditional, unmotivated, and uninterrupted service. It is not motivated out of fear. It is not motivated out of desires. And it is not motivated out of duty also. It is done unconditionally, unmotivatedly, and uninterruptedly. So which do you think is the best service to God or best motivation to serve God? Bhay, Asha, Kartavya, ya Prema? How many of you want to achieve Prema? Please raise your hand. Some of you are not raising. It looks like you want to achieve duty or desires. So therefore, we would like to how many of you would like to refer to scriptures which strike fear in your heart if you don't follow God? How many of you would like to refer to those scriptures which teach you how to make God an order supplier and you can keep asking whatever you want and then you can keep getting what you want? Nobody. How many of you would like to serve God as an obligation, as a duty? Karna, He is giving me, so I should also give. If He stops giving me, then I will also stop giving. And how many of you would like to read some scriptures where you are taught that you are part and parcel of Krishna? Just like this finger can be happy only when it cooperates with the hand. Similarly, your happiness lies in cooperating with Krishna or God. When you try to please Him, you will automatically be happy. Just like if the hand cooperates with the body to put the food in the mouth, ultimately the food is going in stomach. What is the hand getting? Nothing. But if this is done properly, everything is taken care. The hand cannot go on a strike. This belly is always ruling everything. No more eating from the mouth. I want an injection in my hand only. Now from henceforth all the food will go in my right hand. You can't say like this. So how many of you would like to read some scriptures or some books which teach you how to love God? These are the books. One is Bhagavad Gita as it is, and one is Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the only scriptures which only talk about love of God. Please take note, in the Vedic literature also, not all literatures talk about love of God. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Tray gunyo vishaya vedaha nistray gunyo bhavarjuna. Even in the Vedic literature, there are various chapters, sections, which teach you dharma, artha, kama, etc. For example, there is a huge section which talks about what you should do so that you will get good health, what you should do so that you will get a good spouse, what you should do so that you will get a lot of money, what you should do so that you will get a life in the higher planetary systems, what you should do so that you can get this, what you should do so that you can get that. There is a big section. In fact, I will not be over exaggerating if I say that 85% of the Vedic literature is meant for people in the mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness. If somebody is in the mode of ignorance, what should be done so that they come to the mode of passion? If somebody is in the mode of passion, what should be done so that they gradually come to the mode of goodness? There, only a small portion of the Vedas, they directly teach you how to love God and serve God. That's why Krishna says, Nistraya Gunyo Bhavarjuna. Rise above that section of the Vedic literature which talks about Dharma, Artha and Kama. Try to come at the platform of Bhakti. So these two books, especially Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, some people don't know the difference also. They are reading Bhagavad Gita and when I ask them what you read, I'm Bhagavad padh ke aaye hain. I've studied Bhagavad. So Bhagavad Gita is 700 verses, instructions given by Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Bhagavad Gita is the teachings of Krishna. Bhagavatam is the description of the dealings of Krishna with his devotees. What Krishna did, how he did, why he did. And various incarnations such as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, what they did, how. Basically, when you read these pastimes, the names, forms, qualities and pastimes, you will naturally feel attracted to God. And then your service to God will become spontaneous. So therefore, Bhagavatam is the life of God. Bhagavad Gita is the teachings of God. Is it clear? Bhagavatam contains 18,000 verses. Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, used to explain, Bhagavad Gita is like school study of spiritual life. Bhagavatam is university study of spiritual life. And there is a book called Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the PhD in spiritual life. So if you have studied Bhagavad Gita at least 2 times from cover to cover under the guidance of Acharyas like Prabhupada, then you can pick up Bhagavatam and start reading. Is it clear? And of course this is very clear that the word Hindu is not a religious term. You see this section here. The people who were attacking the Indian subcontinent from the western side of the Indus River, Sindhu, they used to mispronounce the word Sindhu as Hindu, and they used to say that everybody on the eastern side of Sindhu is a Hindu. And that's how this word has come. So Hinduism is not a religion, strictly speaking. It is a cultural and a social way of life. And Hinduism is the remnants of the Sanatana Dharma, or the remnants of the Vedic culture. Whatever little bit Vedic culture remains on this planet right now, that can be called more or less as Hinduism. However, the present day Hinduism is even more contaminated. The present day Hindu thinks I can eat whatever I want. I can drink whatever I want. There is no necessity to go to temple also. Basically, present day Hinduism has become so nasty and so liberal that under the name of Hinduism you can do whatever nonsense you want and you can say I am a very accommodative religion. जो करना है करो, हिंदुइज्म में सब अलाउड है ना? There are some people from the Islam faith who think it is necessary or who consider it as a serious business to go to the mosque every Friday. Christians all over the world, they make it a point to go to the church every Sunday. But the so-called advanced Hindus will say there is no such restriction in Hinduism. It's very accommodating. Throughout the year, except on the day of my birthday, I will never go to temple. But still I am a lover of God. So this is nonsense. When you pray to God, there is something called as an asana, or a position in which you place yourself and pray. The Muslims do that. The Christians do that. Whatever they can, they do. But present day Hindus, they will come to the temple and like this they'll do to God. Ho gaya hamara. This is culture. And allowed, Hinduism is liberal, no? कुछ भी कर सकते. कल को कोई चप्पल लेके आएगा. And they'll wave hand towards God with a chappal. Chalega, Hinduism is very liberal. And this is the reason why people are becoming ignorant about the Vedic culture day by day. Even my own parents, they never gave me a Bhagavad Gita. I asked them so many times, they never gave. They said, what's the point? Study your course books. Bhagavad Gita will not help you earn money. But this mathematics, this English, this chemistry, this geography, this will help you earn money. That is more important. So this is the reason why we are in a very sad state today. So is it clear till now, whatever we have discussed? What did we discuss? Why there is there, if God is one, then why do we have so many religions and scriptures? This is the topic which we are discussing. The answer is, based on, religion is one, scripture is one, but based on time, place and circumstances, based on the advancement of the audience, avoidance of rejection, and ability to understand, the same eternal truth is presented and packaged in various ways. Clear? We also understood that what is Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma means to love God and try to serve Him. Understanding that this is my prime most duty. And what else we discussed? We discussed that there are various levels to approach God. The best way to approach God is to become the lover of God. And there are two scriptures which specifically and only and exclusively discuss how to attain love of God. That is Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Now, we'll go to the next discussion, which is basically titled, is God personal or impersonal? Have I already discussed this? Does God have a form or is God formless? This discussion has been done? No? How many of you think this discussion is done? Please raise your hand. Okay. And that means others have not either attended those sessions or maybe they were not paying attention. So what do you think? Is God personal or impersonal? How many of you think that God is impersonal? He has no form, no name, no qualities. Are you raising your hand? Okay. You're scratching your head. Okay. And how many of you think that God is a person? What about others who are not raising your hand? Does it mean that you are confused? How many of you are not sure, confused, or want a discussion to understand? इसमें भी हाथ नहीं उठा रहा है. Option A, is he a person? Not raising hand. Option B, is he not raising hand? How many of you want a discussion? What do you want? You just straight away want the gulab jamun or what? Okay, how many of you are confused or not very clear about it? Good, at least raise your hand now. So I will start the discussion with this verse, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11. Canto 1, chapter 2, shloka number 11. Vadanti tatta tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti padmatmeti bhagwan iti shabdayate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagwan. So learned transcendentalist means those people who have understood that I am not the body but the spirit soul. They are transcendentalists. Now transcendentalists will understand God at three levels. At the level of impersonal realization, that is Brahman. At the level of understanding that God is the supreme controller and maintainer, that is Paramatma realization. And at the level that God this is the Supreme Absolute Truth. He has a name, he has a form, he has some qualities, he has some pastimes, he is a person and he has feelings, and my job is to serve him. This is called Bhagwan realization. Can I ask you a very silly question? How many of you have seen your father? Come on, raise your hands. Imagine if your father had no name and no form, and if you could not see him only. How would you express your love to your father, and how would you express or do some seva to your father? Would it be possible? I have never seen my father. I don't know the name of my father. My father exists everywhere. So what seva I will do? Go to sleep. So this is common sense. Just try to understand. In order to express your love for someone, you need to have a relationship with that person. With an impersonal existence, how do you have a relationship? Another example. How many of you have gone to Tirumala and Tirupati and eaten the laddu also? All of us. Okay. So when you go to Tirumala, when you are going towards the 7 hills, from far when you see, how does it look like? It looks like, some green blue sheets of very big green blue carpets are kept. Correct? Huh? Like that only it looks. If you go closer, then what you will see? Oh, it's not a green blue sheet. There are some trees. There are some mountains. There are some valleys. There are some steps. There are some rivers. There are birds. There are animals. Correct, no? And if you go further closer in Tirumala, then what you will see? You will see Sri Sri Venkateshwara Balaji. Correct? Now, which of the observations is correct? Or which of the observations is wrong? That Tirumala hills is like a green and a bluish carpet. Observation 1. Tirumala hills is a mountain or a group of 7 mountains filled with trees, valleys, animals, birds, waters, etc. Observation 3. Tirumala hill is a place of 7 hills where the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Balaji, Venkateshwara Balaji, resides with his devotees. Every day some seva is done. These devotees, they try to serve the Lord with various paraphernalia. And the Lord accepts their service and talks to them also. So which observation is wrong? All are correct. But which observation is the most advanced observation? A, B or C? Option A is like Brahman realization, option B is like Paramatma realization, and option C is like Bhagwan realization. So all are correct, but the degree of understanding or the degree of realization is different, that's all. So Brahman means God is everywhere. The Supreme Soul is God, that's all. Paramatma realization means that I see the form of the Lord, the 400 form of the Lord in the core of my heart. And I see the same Paramatma in the heart of dog also, cat also, and without his sanction, even a blade of grass cannot move. Not only he is present everywhere, but he is the controller of everything also. And Bhagwan realization means the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. And I am related to him, I have a relationship with him, and my job is to serve him. That Supreme Absolute Truth, that Supreme Absolute Person has feelings. But because he is so great and so beyond my understanding, that I say that he has no form. Because my understanding is that if I have a form, then it has to be full of miseries. If I have a form, there has to be birth, death, old age, disease. There has to be miseries due to others, miseries due to body and mind, miseries due to natural calamities. So if God is not having any miseries, that means he should not have any form also. Do you understand the fallacy in this argument? God has a form, but he does not have a material form. He has a spiritual form. That is why he is called Nirakar. All of us have a material akar. God has no material akar. He has a spiritual form, that is spiritual akar. Similarly, he is called Nirguna because God has zero qualities, correct? No. Guna here means Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. God is above all this, Divya, transcendent. So he is called Nirguna. Okay? So, God is personal or impersonal, further analysis from Bible, Quran and other places. The Bible says the eyes of the Lord, Genesis 38, verse number 7. Inscribed with the finger of God in Exodus mentioned. God made man in his own image. The ears of the Lord. Now, what do these point towards? All this points towards that definitely God has a form. Okay, please keep your mobile in silent. In Quran, Allah's face is described. Allah's eyes are described. So the conclusion which we make from here is God is both personal and impersonal. However, the basis of impersonal existence is the personal existence of God. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahmano hi pratisthaham. I am the basis of impersonal Brahman. That means this impersonal aspect exists because the personality exists. Are you able to follow? The impersonal exists because the personal exists. However, because of the impersonal, personal existence is not possible. Are you able to understand, or is it too confusing? Technical? How many of you understood? Chalo, koi nahi samjha. Very good. Assume the impersonal existence as Brahma Jyoti. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, न तद भाषयते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावकः यद गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद धाम परमं मम. He says, in my spiritual dham, there is no need of sun, there is no need of moon, there is no need of fire, there is no need of electricity. Why? Because I am there. And if I am there, then everything is spiritually self-effulgent because of my presence. So from the body of Krishna, effulgence comes out. That effulgence comes towards the material universes and remains as Brahma Jyoti. So these impersonalists, they want to merge in the Brahma Jyoti. That is impersonal existence. So this Brahma Jyoti is coming from whom? Krishna. So this Brahma Jyoti is normally called as Brahman. And the game of life is to merge in the Brahman. They don't know that merging is not possible. So this Brahman is coming from whom? Krishna. So the person is the reason of this impersonal existence. This impersonal existence is not the reason for the existence of the person. Now have you understood? How many of you understood? Please raise your hand. Okay, how many want another? Do you want more discussion? A king rules the kingdom through his representatives. So the ruling power of the king, the principles or the laws which he makes, they are existing throughout the kingdom. But these laws and principles, they exist because of the presence of the king, right? The king is not personally going everywhere and trying to implement. Through his expansions and through his energies, you can say that king is present everywhere in the kingdom. But actually the king is there only in the palace. His energies and his expansions and his delegations and his ministers are enforcing the presence of the king. Now, is it true that because there is a state of law, that is why the king exists? Or because the king exists, that is why there is a state of law? What is correct? Option A or option B? B. So similarly, because Krishna exists, that is why this impersonal feature known as Brahma Jyoti exists. Because of Brahma Jyoti, Krishna is not existing. Because of Krishna, the Brahma Jyoti exists. Now have you understood? Anybody who is still unclear? So if somebody says God is impersonal, what will say? Correct. And if somebody says God is personal, what will say? Correct. God is both personal, but what is a higher understanding? That God is a person. Did you understand? Now that you have understood that God is both personal as well as impersonal, but the highest realization is to understand that God is a person. Bhagwan realization. Now you are in a position to understand who is God. Are you ready? Am I moving too fast? Pace ठीक है? I have finished 60% of my discussion already. Who is God? God is definitely one, but he is known by many names. The word Bhagwan means possessor of all opulence. Opulence means what is the right word for opulence? Yeah, you can say resources, qualities also you can say. Bhaga, fortune. The possessor of all kinds of fortunes, all kinds of everything which you can imagine. One who possesses that is called Bhagwan. Paramatma means the Supreme Soul. These are different names of God. Please take note that these are not personal names of God. These are secondary names of God. For example, somebody is a director and I call him Director Sahab. And if he has a name Anil and if I call him Anil Sir, what will be more pleasing? Somebody is saying director will aayega to zyada actually. The word Allah means all powerful. The word Jehovah means all merciful. The word Rama means reservoir of all pleasure. And the word Krishna means all attractive. So these are the various names of God. In this, the word Rama and Krishna, they are personal names or primary names. And words like Ishwar, Bhagwan, Paramatma, Allah, Jehovah, they are secondary names. Now, who is God? Jesus Christ proclaimed that I am the Son of God. Muhammad said that I am the messenger of God. Mahavir, Jain and Buddha, they were great liberated souls and teachers. They said we are here to preach the message of God again. Moses also said that I am a messenger, but Krishna, he is God himself. Why? All the acharyas accept this. Tell me the name of some acharyas. Sorry, you have to say loudly. Ramanujacharya, Shripad Ramanujacharya, Shripad Shankaracharya, Shripad Madhvacharya. Any other acharya you know? Srila Prabhupada. Any other names? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anybody else? How about Arjuna? He is also an acharya, being the first student of Bhagavad Gita. So all of them, Narada, Acyuta, Devala, Vyasa, Ramanujacharya, Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, they all agree that Krishna is Bhagwan. Therefore in Bhagavad Gita you will see, how many speakers are there in Bhagavad Gita? Option A 1, option B 2, option C 3, option D 4. How many of you say 1? Please raise your hand. Very good. How many of you say option B 2? Nobody. Now 1 is becoming 2. Very, very good. How many of you say that there are 3 speakers in Bhagavad Gita? Very good. And how many of you say 4? There is so much difference of opinion. And some of you have not raised your hand only, which means I don't care. Answer is 4. Dhritarashtra is speaking, Sanjaya is speaking, Krishna is speaking, and Arjuna is speaking. When Dhritarashtra speaks, Vedavyas says Dhritarashtra Uvacha. When Sanjaya speaks, he writes Sanjaya Uvacha. When Arjuna speaks, he writes Arjuna Uvacha. But when Krishna speaks, what does Vyasa write? Not Bhagavan, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. He never says Krishna Uvacha or Vasudeva Uvacha or Devaki Nandan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now, how many of you think that Vedvyas had taken drugs while writing Bhagavad Gita? Or he did not know the absolute truth? The author of all the Vedic literature, can he make mistake? Yes or no? Very good. So all the acharyas, starting from Vyas, they accept that Krishna is God. The Vedas, all the Vedic literature confirm this also. All the demigods, devatas also confirm this. And the biggest point is, forget about everything. Krishna himself says that I am God. Now let us see, what do the scriptures say? What does the Shastra say? Please repeat with me. This is from Brahma Samhita. BS means Brahma Samhita. The first verse of the 5th chapter. Maybe you have heard this, but let's recite again. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindah Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. These verses were written when the universe was created. At that time, Krishna had not even descended in this material world. But even at that time, Brahma is glorifying Krishna. That means Krishna is an eternal personality. It is not that in Treta Yuga, Lord Ram came and in Dwapar Yuga, Krishna came. So before Dwapar Yuga, nobody knew about Krishna. No, that is not the case. These are eternal. See, in the spiritual world, there are spiritual planets. Nrsimhadev resides in the Nrsimha Loka. Krishna resides in the Goloka Vrindavan. Lord Ram resides in the eternal Ayodhya. And whenever they have to descend, they do their pastimes and then they go back. It is not that when Hiranyakashipu became like that and when Prahlad was disturbed, that time only Nrsimhadev took a form like that and came in the material world. No, even before Prahlad, Nrsimhadev was already existing. In Tamil Nadu, there is a Sanatana Gopala Swami temple. When Maharaj Dashrath was not getting a child, he went to this Sanatana Gopala Swami temple, in which the Vigraha or the deity is that of a small child dancing on the hoods of a snake called Kaliya. Maharaj Dashrath went and prayed to a temple, in a temple where the Vigraha is that of Krishna dancing on Kaliya, praying to that deity that you please descend as my son. That means even before Ram Avatar, the pastimes of Krishna were known through the Guru Parampara and through the Vedic literature. Otherwise, how will Dashrath go to that temple and pray? Are you able to follow? That means these pastimes, they happen in a cycle. In one day of Brahma, Krishna descends once. Similarly, once in a day of Brahma, Lord Ram will come. Once in a day of Brahma, different incarnations will come. In that way, you have to understand. So, when the universe was created, at that time Brahma is praying. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He is an eternal blissful spiritual, he has an eternal blissful spiritual body. Means he definitely has a form. Otherwise, why will Brahma? See, you and me may not have seen Krishna, but Brahma has seen. So he's telling he is the origin of all, and he has no other origin. And he is the prime cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karana. Many people say, who created God? This is a wrong argument, because if somebody can create God, then one day they can only become God. Because in this material world, everybody has a creator and everything has a manufacturer. So they have this idea that if God is there, then someone must have created God also. No. God is Anadir Adi. He has no origin. At the same time, He is the origin of everything. That is God. Does it make sense? If it is not making sense, very good. Because this cannot be understood also with the material mind. Okay, Krishna is saying in the 10th canto, 10th chapter, sloka number 8 of Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam Buddha bhava samanvitaah. There are many ways you can recite one verse, different meters, whichever suits you, you can adopt. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam Buddha bhava samanvitaah. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam Buddha bhava samanvitaah. So choose whichever meter you want and recite it. See what Krishna is saying. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Now why I am quoting this verse? In the entire Vedic literature, no one speaks like this. Nobody else talks like this. Only Krishna speaks like this. I am the source of all spiritual, and point to be noted, whatever the material universes are there, the God's creation can be divided in 4 parts. 3 out of 4 is the spiritual world. Tripad Vibhuti. And Ekpad Vibhuti, that means lesser than 25% is the material universes. Just like those who are not qualified to stay in the society, those who have done some crime, they are put in the jail. Similarly, those who are not qualified to stay in the spiritual world, they are sent to the material world. So all of us who are sitting here, we are actually criminals. We misused our independence in the spiritual world. We became envious of God. We wanted to enjoy like Krishna. So we ended up in the material world. And Krishna is saying, I am the source of all material universes as well as the spiritual universes. Everything comes from me. The wise who perfectly know this, all the wise people who actually, factually and perfectly understand this, what they will do? They engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Imagine if we announce that next class, I don't know how many of you are trying to take leave, but next class, Virat Kohli is coming to ISKCON Kanamangala. All of a sudden, everybody will become interested in Bhagavad Gita. In fact, the crowd will be so much that probably they will push the cows outside, they will break this wall, and they will say, "Ab thoda space zyada ho gaya hai. We can talk to Virat Kohli." Why do you think everybody is coming to see Virat Kohli? He is famous. My grandfather doesn't know him. But theek hai, I agreed to your argument, he is famous. Point to be noted, Virat Kohli is a spirit soul. Is Virat Kohli Bhagwan? No, he is a spirit soul. He is a small, minute, infinitesimal part and parcel of Krishna. Every energy of Virat Kohli comes from Krishna. A small, minute, fractional energy Virat Kohli is displaying in the form of cricket. And we find it so attractive. Imagine if the source of Virat Kohli, imagine if the source of billions and trillions of Virat Kohlis personally comes in front of you, how much attraction you will feel. So therefore it is said, the wise who perfectly know this. See, Virat Kohli is not the source of spiritual and material worlds. Virat Kohli is only the source of his flat. That's all. Which is also, I don't know, until when it will remain with him. The wise who perfectly understand, see, a small fraction of energy of Krishna invested in the Jiva Tattva becomes so attractive. If that personality himself is coming, how will we react? Imagine if Krishna walks here right now, what will happen? Most of us will faint actually. We will not understand what is happening. So, the wise who perfectly know this, they will engage in my devotional service, they will do bhakti, and they will do it with all their hearts, understanding that nobody else is more important than Krishna. So, are you all wise or not? Some people are like, kya bolenge, chodo nahi. Now, we were discussing about opulences. Krishna has these opulences. Opulence means these 6 things primarily. Full wealth. Nobody is richer than Krishna. Not even Mukesh Ambani. Mukesh Ambani is praying to Mother Lakshmi. Aja, Aja, Aja. And what is Mother Lakshmi doing? She is massaging the feet and she is saying, I will not come. I am with Narayan, I will not come. So Mukesh Ambani is worshipper of Lakshmi, but Krishna is Lakshmi Pati. Similarly, strength. Imagine a person lifting a 300 kg, what is it called? Weightlifting. Very strong, no? Imagine a 7-year-old child lifting a whole mountain and holding it for 7 days and 7 nights. And simultaneously performing various other pastimes. In the month of Kartik, when Govardhan Puja will come, if all of you are still connected to these Gita classes, then I will speak the Govardhan Leela to all of you. There you will understand that Govardhan Leela doesn't mean just lifting the Govardhan. Parallelly and simultaneously so many other pastimes are happening. So Krishna is the strongest. There is nobody stronger than him. Similarly, most famous is God. Anywhere in the world you go, everybody knows God. And trust me, everybody knows the name Krishna also, somehow or the other. Whether you go in Pakistan or Bangladesh, USA, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, France, everybody knows Krishna. You ask, you say the word Krishna? Yes, I know. Similarly, he is the most beautiful. How do I say that Krishna is most beautiful? Someone will say that Hrithik Roshan or what is the next hero? Somebody, Amitabh Bachchan or somebody, they are more beautiful than Krishna also. How do you understand this statement? I'll show you a verse because simply speaking doesn't help. Are you able to see, or should I make it bigger? This is from Brahma Samhita. You can try to repeat with me. Some of you may not be able to repeat, but you can try. Venum kvanantam arvinda dalaya taksham. Very good. Barhavatam samasitambunda sundarangam. Kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham. गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute. Lord Brahma is saying, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather. Is God impersonal? He has a full form. With the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of the blue clouds. And this is the line which I am trying to focus upon. His unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. Now, who is a cupid? In Vedic literature, the word Cupid means Kamadev. You see? Kandarpa. Kandarpa is the name of Kamadev. Now, what is the work of Kamadev? To make everybody lusty. Now, the whole world is simply moving around under the sway of lust. Even the greatest yogis like Vishwamitra have not been spared. This verse says, charming millions of Kamadevs. Kamadev is charming everybody. But when millions and billions of Kamadevs, when they see Krishna, they forget who they are. Now you tell me who is most beautiful? Krishna. And who is saying this? Brahma is saying this. That means, that is a fact. That is why the word Krishna means all attractive. If you read the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, you will see that to Krishna, the Gopas are also attracted, the Gopis are also attracted, the parents are also attracted, the cows are also attracted, the trees are also attracted, the rivers are also attracted, the clouds are also attracted, the peacocks are also attracted, the bees are also attracted, the mountains are also attracted. So that means this personality does not attract just human beings. He attracts everything. It is said that when Krishna used to play his flute, Yamuna used to become stunned after hearing it. And Yamuna's color is generally blackish. She used to start flowing in the opposite direction and she used to become milk white. It is said that when Krishna would play his flute, Indra, who would be seeing the dance of Urvashi and Ramba, he would stop everything and he would remove his crown and he would start wandering like a madman. Lord Brahma, who is the most perfect person in composing Vedic literature, he would start making mistakes in composing Vedic literature. And Lord Shiva would start dancing as soon as he heard the flute sound of Krishna so madly that while dancing, he would forget where he is and he would end up going somewhere where he will not realize also. So that is Krishna. He is attractive to everybody. Now we'll go back to our presentation. See why I quote these verses so that you can understand. That he is the all beauty. In the material world, when you see some beauty, a beautiful man or a beautiful woman, you become lustily agitated. But if you see the beauty of Krishna, your lust, anger and greed will vanish. That is the difference between material beauty and spiritual beauty. Material beauty makes you disturbed, but spiritual beauty makes you fearless and completely happy. That beauty we are talking about, and that is Krishna. Similarly, he has all knowledge. Who can speak the Bhagavad Gita? Only Krishna. So much so that he has spoken it 5,000 years ago. Till now we are listening to it. What did you say 5 days ago? Sure. 5 days ago, there is no value. 5,243 years ago he spoke. Till now, it is saving the lives of so many people. And similarly, all renunciation. Renunciation means one who is not attached to anything or anyone. So a person who can give up anything at any moment. is called Vairagi. So the biggest Vairagi is Krishna. He is God, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when the Rajasuya Yajna of Maharaj Yudhishthir was going on, at that time he started washing the chappals of the different sages who were coming. That means he is not attached to his power and position. He became the chariot driver of Arjuna in Kurukshetra war. Does this position suit him? But he is ready to do because he loves his devotees. Therefore, he is most renounced. For the purpose of duty, he left Vrindavan in one day. Similarly, 17 times he defeated Kamsa. 17 times. But 18th time he saw that the people of Dwarka are being disturbed. And I have received one love letter from Rukmini where she is saying that if you don't come and take me, I will commit suicide. He left the battlefield. The whole world calls him Ranchor, one who has ran away from the battlefield, but he doesn't care. Because for him there is something more important. This is called renunciation. Not attached to name, fame, power, prestige. Krishna has all wealth, all strength, all fame, all beauty and all knowledge. But he is not attached to any of these. And even without these, he is Krishna. That is Bhagavan. This is the meaning of Bhagavan. Have you understood who is God now? Who is God? How many of you, see if you will not say, I will keep asking. Who is God? Any doubt, like Ganesha is God, or Shiva is God, or Durga is God, or Chandra is God, I am God. These kind of discussions are there. If they are there, I will discuss more. Yes, it is there. Hang on. I knew it will be there, so I prepared something. Now we will discuss the four tattvas. The tattvas are Vishnu tattva, Jiva tattva, Shambhu tattva and Shakti tattva. The Supreme Lords, the incarnations, the avatars, they are called as Vishnu tattvas. Ram, Narasimha, Vamana, Balram, Parshuram, Matsya, Kurma. These are called as Vishnu tattvas. Jiva tattvas means we are Jiva tattvas, parts and parcels of Krishna. We have the qualities like Krishna, but in quantity God is infinitely greater than us. Okay, that is Jiva tattva. Just like a small drop of water of the ocean has the same formula H2O, but the drop is not equal to the ocean. So in quality, we share some qualities like Krishna, like Father, like Son. But ultimately, Krishna is a storehouse of infinite display of infinite qualities. We have inherited little bit. So we are Jiva tattvas and we are marginal potency. Sometimes we are in the internal energy, sometimes we are under the external energy. That is Jiva tattva. Now Lord Shiva is a separate tattva which is called Shambhu tattva. Shambhu tattva means higher than Jiva tattva. Shambhu tattva is not Jivatma. He is not Jivatma like us. That is an expansion of Krishna or not even expansion, that is a transformation of Krishna. That is called Shambhu tattva. Strictly speaking, higher than Jiva tattva, in between Jiva tattva and Vishnu tattva is Shambhu tattva. Shambhu tattva is alternatively called as Ishwar tattva also. So higher than Jiva tattva but lower than Vishnu tattva is Ishwar tattva. I will explain more. And then comes Shakti tattva. Shakti tattva is nothing but the energies of Krishna only. However, they take the role of the most confidential servants of Krishna, the consorts of Krishna, such as Lakshmi, etc. They are Shakti tattva. I will discuss Shambhu tattva and Shakti tattva in little more detail because Vishnu tattva, Jiva tattva are clear. Okay. However, I will ask you one question. which will confuse maybe all of you. What is the difference between Krishna and Vishnu? Option A, no difference. Option B, there is some difference. Option B. Option A. Krishna is the avatar of Vishnu. Very good. How many of you agree or disagree to this statement? How many of you agree that Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu? Okay. How many of you disagree? Why do you disagree? I see kuch bhi, huh? Yes, sir. Why you disagree? You think Krishna and Vishnu are same. Suppose there is one CEO of a company and he has 200 branches all over the world. And in each branch he has appointed a manager. And the manager works in direct synchronization with the CEO. And the CEO has given full power of attorney to the managers. So in one way the managers are acting like the CEO only. However, if the CEO, who is the real controller of everybody? CEO. If the CEO has to go to a particular branch, he will go, how will he go there? Will he, option A, he will go through the agency of the manager, that means through the manager, or option B, without informing the manager, he will go independently. Generally, he will inform that I am coming, no? That means if he has to go somewhere, he will go through the manager only. So it will look like the CEO is be brought by the manager. But ultimately the CEO has come independently only. Does it make sense, all these discussions? This is the truth. Krishna, I'm just showing you some evidence from the Vedic literature. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He says in Bhagavad Gita, there is no truth superior to me. Matta parataram na anyat. Aham sarvasya prabhu. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. So Krishna's primary expansion is Balram. From Balram comes a Chaturvyuha known as VSPA, that is Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. These are 4 Chaturvyuha expansions of Balram who are taking care of all the spiritual universes and spiritual planets. From the Sankarshan of the first Chaturvyuha comes Narayana. From Narayana comes another Chaturvyuha expansion, which is Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. And these 4 are responsible for the material universes. I will not like to go in detail right now. From the second Sankarshan of the second Chaturvyuha comes a personality known as Mahavishnu, also known as Karana Dakshai Vishnu. This Mahavishnu is lying in a causal ocean, and when he breathes in, all the universes go inside his body through the pores of his body, and when he breathes out, different universes come out in seed forms from the pores of his body, and then they expand into gigantic size. The breath of Mahavishnu, one breath of Mahavishnu, according to Lord Brahma, is 311 trillion 40 billion years. Now, how is it possible that from the pores of someone universes are coming out? Brahma explains that just like a big banyan tree can be packed into a small seed, that is God's intelligence. Hundreds of banyan trees can be packed in one small seed. So similarly, in the seed form, various universes come out. This is beyond our intelligence. And then, same Karano Dakshai Vishnu, this personality, expands himself as Garbhodakshai Vishnu and enters each and every universe. From the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu comes a lotus flower on which, without the help of Mother Lakshmi, Brahma is generated. This Garbhodakshay Vishnu further expands as Paramatma, that form of Lord Vishnu which is lying on the milk ocean, commonly known as Kshirodakshay Vishnu, Kshir Sagar, milk ocean. This is that form of the Lord, the four-handed form of Lord Vishnu, which is accessible to the Devatas. When the Devatas have any problem, they go and pray, they access this Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Point to be noted, all are the same person, but mood is different. Roles and responsibilities are different. So the demigods in the material world, they cannot access higher than that form of the Lord which is on the Kshira Sagar or the milk ocean. Only Brahma can see Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Mahavishnu nobody can see. So this Kshirodakshay Vishnu is an expansion of the 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 expansion of Krishna. Now, what does the word expansion mean? Expansion means plenary expansion. If I ask you, you please create a form identical to yourself, leave one in house and come here also. Not possible. But God can do it. The Brahma Samhita says, Advaitam Acyutam Anadim Anantarupam Madhyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabhamatma Bhaktau Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Advaitam, that means there is no one like God. Achyutam, he never falls down from his position. Anadim, there is no source, he is the source of everything. Ananta Rupam, he has millions of forms, and each form is himself only. But he chooses to display a different mood and different characteristics. For explanation purpose, I would like to quote the moon's example. Some days the moon is full moon, some days it is half, some days it is 3/4, some days it is 1/4, some days it is 1/16. So the day when it is 1/4, does it mean that the moon has lost 3/4 of its power? No, it just chooses to display 1/4. Similarly, different incarnations have a different purpose, and they choose to display powers sufficient to fulfill that purpose only. For example, Matsya, it had a purpose, it did and it went. Similarly, Varaha, it had a purpose, it did and went. So similarly, it is an offense to say that Varahadev is more powerful than Matsya and Matsya is less powerful than Rama and Rama is more powerful than Kurma. It's an offense. Different incarnations have a different mood and a different purpose. Just like there is a 60-watt bulb and a 120-watt bulb. The power, because the setting is like that, that means that much light is being displayed. It is not that the electricity is only making differentiation, no. So Krishna is like the full moon. Complete display of all the qualities of Godhead in an independent manner is done in Krishna's pastimes. But in other incarnations, he chooses not to display. For instance, in the Vaman Leela, same God only has come as Vamanadev, but he chooses not to speak the Bhagavad Gita. He chooses not to lift the Govardhan. So Krishna is like the full moon, and all the other incarnations are Krishna only, God only, but they have a different purpose, they have a different mood. This you have to understand. So therefore these are called as plenary expansions. Plenary expansion means what? This is a very technical term, understand very correctly. If there is an apple, if you take half apple or one apple out, there are two apples, if you take one away, how many will remain? If one is there, if you take one away, how many will remain? This is not happening in the spiritual world. If Krishna has expanded himself into 16,108 forms, it doesn't mean that his original form is finished. Therefore, in spiritual mathematics, 1 minus 16,100 is equal to 1. And this is a principle coming in Ishopanishad. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So in the Ishopanishad it is said Om Purnamidam Purnamadam Purnamidam. The spiritual world is complete and the material world is also complete. Purnat Purnamudachyate. And from that supreme absolute personality, complete wholes are coming out, complete units are coming out. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Even if you take out infinite complete units, that means infinite incarnations out of that complete personality, Purnameva Vashishyate. Whatever remains is again Purna. Difficult to understand? That is the explanation in this diagram. Otherwise, we have to remove some verses of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, I am the supreme. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. There is no truth superior to me. So therefore, there is no difference between Krishna and Vishnu. Krishna, God at home is Krishna and God at office is Vishnu. Therefore, Vishnu is very formal. In Krishna Lila, you will see friends of Krishna putting hand on his shoulder, running with him, playing with him. But have you ever seen or imagined somebody putting hand on the four-handed form? You cannot imagine also. It's very formal. So intimacy is not experienced when you are with the Vishnu, when you are with Narayan or Vishnu. So deeper intimacy is appreciated and accepted and possible to receive when you are with Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna and Narayan. However, Krishna excels Narayan in 4 different ways. Rupa Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, Rasa Madhurya, Venu Madhurya. Krishna in his 2-handed form, according to Arjuna, is more beautiful than the 4-handed Narayan form. Krishna will do some pastimes which will charm your heart, like stealing butter. Narayan will not do it. Same person, but very formal. Narayan cannot do this. Rasa Madhurya, the kind of relationships which people exchange with Krishna is not seen in Vaikuntha or is not seen in the Vishnu Tattvas. And the kind of pastimes which he does, Rupa, Rasa, Leela and Venu, these 4 things Narayan doesn't choose to display, but Krishna will display. So therefore, Krishna and Vishnu are the same. However, scripturally speaking, Krishna is the source of all Vishnu Tattvas. However, when he comes in the material world, he comes through the agency of Lord Vishnu. Just like a CEO goes to his branch through the agency of his manager. Did you understand? Similarly, Krishna goes to the material world through the agency of Kshirodakshai Vishnu. The difference between CEO and manager example is that CEO and manager are 2 different people. But here Vishnu and Krishna are the same. Only mood is different and display of qualities and power is little variated. Did you follow? So is Vishnu an incarnation of Krishna or is Krishna an incarnation of Vishnu? This if you have understood, then you are a very, very qualified person. However, Krishna comes in the material world through the agency of Vishnu. This statement is not wrong. But all the Vishnu Tattvas, their source is from Krishna. The diagram is given here and this has been verified and understood and accepted by all the acharyas. Only Ramanand Sagar shows differently. However, I can give you evidence. In Valmiki Ramayana, it is mentioned. This verse is mentioned. Yeah. I hope you are able to see my screen. When Lord Ram is ending his earthly pastimes and he is going back to his original abode, this verse is there. Even in the Ramayana of Ramanand Sagar, this verse is there. So I will sing this verse for you. Vitarasi dikshurane dikapati kamaniyam dashamukhamolimbalim ramaniyam keshavadhrita ram sharira keshavadhrita ram sharira जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. And before this there is another verse, the 6th verse, 5th verse. Chalayasi vikramane balimadhabhut vamana padnakh nirjanita jan pavan केशवधृता वामन रूपा केशवधृता वामन रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. This is a very famous song written by Jayadev Goswami, one of the acharyas. You see the last line of, he is talking about the Dashavatar. He says in the end of each verse, he says, Keshava Dhrita Meena Sharira. Who is Keshava? Keshava Dhrita. Krishna assumed the form of Meena Sharira. Meena means Matsya. Similarly, next is Keshava Dhrita Kurma Sharira. Keshava Dhrita Shukara Rupa. Keshava Dhrita Narahari. Narahari means Narasimha. Keshavadhrita Vamana Rupa, Keshavadhrita Bhrigupati Rupa, that is Parashurama, Keshavadhrita Rama Sharira. Who is the 8th incarnation? Krishna's name is not here. Keshavadhrita Haladhara Rupa. That means the 8th incarnation of Krishna is Balram. So Krishna is not an avatar, he is avatari. He is the source of all incarnations. Please get the point. I am not saying this, acharyas are saying this. Keshavadhrita Buddha Sharira, Keshavadhrita Kalki Sharira. Let's read the translation of this 7th one. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have, H-A-V-E, printing mistake, who have assumed the form of Ramachandra. All glories to you. In the battle of Lanka, you destroy the 10-headed demon Ravana and then distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, headed by Indira. This action was long desired by all of them, who were very much harassed by this monster. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Balram, the yielder of the plough, all glories to you. On your brilliant white body, you wear garments the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of Yamuna river, who feels great fear due to the striking of your plowshare, like that. So, Krishna is not an incarnation. He is the source of all incarnations. We see enough evidence in the Shastra. However, when we say that Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu, that statement is also not wrong, because he comes through the agency of Lord Vishnu, but strictly speaking, he is the source of the Vishnu Tattvas. The Vishnu Tattvas who are very active or primarily active in the material world, there are 3 Vishnus. Who are they? Can you tell me the names? Karana Dakshai Vishnu, Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, Kshiro Dakshai Vishnu. Okay, clear? So till now we have discussed who is God. We saw how everything converges to the definition of Krishna. We saw Krishna himself is saying, Vedas are saying, Acharyas are saying, Vedvyas is saying, Narada is saying, Acyuta is saying, Vyasa is saying, Arjuna is saying. We discussed his opulences, we discussed the 4 tattvas. We discussed that how Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Now I will get into this Shambhu Tattva, which is Shiva Tattva. What is Shambhu Tattva? Uniquely powerful position between Jeev Tattva and Vishnu Tattva. This is clear. Lord Shiva is not an ordinary spirit soul. But at the same time, Lord Shiva is not the source of all material and spiritual worlds. You see the last point. Or second point, let's go. He is the greatest Vaishnava. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Amongst all the devotees of Hari, the most supreme devotee is Lord Shiva. He is the Mahadev because all the other Devatas, they are Jiva Tattvas. But because Lord Shiva is not Jiva Tattva, he is Ishvara Tattva. So he is superior to all Devatas. That's why called Mahadev. He is the Guna Avatar. Guna Avatar means in charge of a particular guna, in charge of Tamoguna. He is the in charge of the mode of ignorance, that is the destructive forces in the material world. That form of Krishna which destroys everything is Shiva. However, Krishna, when he incarnates in this material world, he is above the Tamogun, Rajogun and Sattvagun. This I have already told. But that form of Krishna which voluntarily accepts the touch of the Tamoguna, which voluntarily accepts the touch of Maya, that is Shiva. Do you follow? So therefore, Ishvara Tattva. It is like milk and curd. What is the difference between milk and curd? Curd is not milk, but at the same time, it is not different from milk also. When there is a slight touch of culture or little bit, what you can say, some bacteria or some impurity, when it falls in milk, it becomes curd. So curd is different from milk. Very nice to have after rice and rasam. But at the same time, it is not different from milk also. That expansion of the Lord, which chooses to accept the touch of the material world, which chooses to accept the touch of Maya, which chooses to accept the touch of the gunas, that is Shambhu Tattva. See the last point, has immense powers in the material world but cannot promote anybody to the spiritual world. The power or the authority to promote anybody to the spiritual worlds like Vaikuntha, Dwarka, Ayodhya is the exclusive choice, exclusive authority of Krishna. You can say Lord Shiva is the controller of the material world and Lord Krishna is the controller of both material and spiritual worlds. In this way you can understand. But however, all devotees should think that Lord Shiva is my Guru. Why? Because he is the greatest Vaishnava, most senior devotee. So Lord Shiva is my Guru and Krishna is my Bhagwan. Now any disagreement? Mahabharata says this, Shiva Puran says this, that says this, Gita says this, any disagreement. We are not trying to compromise the position of Lord Shiva here. If in front of you God comes and your Guru comes, whom will you offer your obeisances first to? To whom? Guru. Why? Because Guru has taught you who is Bhagwan. So in terms of respect, I will definitely be very respectful to Lord Shiva. But in terms of tattva or in terms of understanding, I have to understand that Krishna is Bhagwan. Now this is a very sentimental and a very touchy topic. Therefore, whenever I discuss this, many people get disappointed also. And they exit the WhatsApp group and the course also. But I am not here to present any biased opinion. I am here to present the Bhagavad Gita. I am here to present the truth. From time immemorial, there is a fight between the Vaishnavas and the Shaivites, especially in Tamil Nadu. It's happening hugely. There is a confusion in the material world who is the supreme. But there is no confusion in the Shastra. And there is no confusion in the reality. So this is Shambhu Tattva. Shiva Tattva. And again, Praman. What is the proof? How you are saying this? Here is the Praman. There are millions of Praman, but I find this Brahma Samhita very reliable. Because nobody is more educated and intelligent and qualified than Lord Brahma in this universe. He says, Lord Brahma says, try to repeat with me. It's a little difficult, but try to follow. If you can't repeat, then just like that you do. Okay? Kshiram yatha dadi vikar vishesha yogat sanjayate nahi tatah prithagasti hetoho. Very good. Yah shambhutam api tatha samupaiti karya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. It feels very nice, no, when you recite the Vedic literature. See the translation. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect of curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, viz. The milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. The state of Shambhu is not an incarnation, it is a state of transformation. Therefore, Shambhu is not Vishnu Tattva, but at the same time it is higher than Jiva Tattva. Did you understand? Some people, they are like, why should I follow this? Where was I? Where is my presentation? Oh, I'm getting lost. Okay, so this is Shambhu Tattva. Now next, which I want to discuss very briefly, is Shakti Tattva. Shakti Tattva is another expansion of the Lord. They are the most spiritually advanced and most intimate sevaks or servants of the Lord. Just like Krishna is the source of all Vishnu Tattvas, Jiva Tattvas, Shambhu Tattvas, even Shakti Tattva. So the foremost Shakti Tattva is Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the source of all Lakshmis and all the other consorts of the Lord. We were discussing prema, unmotivated, uninterrupted and unconditional. So Srimati Radharani is the personification of unconditional, unmotivated, uninterrupted love. Nobody can serve God better than her. However, being the best servant of Krishna, she is the most humble person in the whole creation. What do you think Krishna likes? Option A, butter. Option B, mishri mixed with butter. Option C, pizza. Option D, humility. What do you think Krishna likes the most? She is the most humble person. She is so humble that if now all of you go and pray to Srimati Radharani that, my dear Srimati Radharani, please recommend my name to Krishna and please tell him to give me his mercy. Immediately Srimati Radharani will say, my dear Krishna, this person better devotee than me also. Please bless him. And when Krishna hears Srimati Radharani speaks like this, he starts crying. That's, you are so humble. And I am so attracted to you. Krishna is not attracted to anybody. He is, one of the names of Krishna is Nirmohi. He is the biggest renunciant. He doesn't need anyone also. But when he sees humility in the heart of the devotee, he becomes very attracted. And the qualities of Srimati Radharani is beyond description. So much so that even Lord Shiva is reciting Radha Kripa Kataksha to get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. That is Shakti Tattva. Do you follow? So nobody can serve God better than Srimati Radharani. So in terms of Tattva, Krishna is the supreme. But in terms of Leela, Radharani is the supreme. For instance, in terms of Tattva, Krishna is the supreme. But when Mother Yashoda is trying to beat Krishna with a stick, in that Leela, who is supreme? Mother Yashoda. But technically, is Mother Yashoda superior to Krishna? No, she is a devotee of Krishna. Similarly, in Leela, Srimati Radharani is supreme. But in Tattva, Krishna is the supreme. Because Krishna loves his devotees so much that he agrees to become their servant. He agrees to become controlled by them. In that way, Srimati Radharani controls Krishna. And why does she control Krishna? Because she is unconditionally, unmotivatedly, uninterruptedly, and most humbly trying to serve Krishna. Do you follow? This is Shakti Tattva. All the Lakshmis come from Srimati Radharani. Just like Shambhu Tattva comes from Krishna Tattva, similarly, the consorts of Shambhu like Parvati and Sati, they are all coming from Radharani. Last part of today's discussion, the Devatas, the demigods. The demigods, they are not Vishnu Tattva, they are not Shambhu Tattva, they are Jiva Tattvas like you and me. But the difference is they are very pious. You can consider them as senior devotees of Krishna. They have been given superhuman bodies and abilities. They are, in the universe, there are various departments. They are in charge of, they are managers of one department. But who is the CEO here? Krishna. So department heads in various parts of universal administration, and Krishna is the CEO. This is demigods. If somebody is thinking that I will worship Surya Dev, sun god, sun demigod, and by worshipping them I will get good health, don't think that this good health is coming directly from sun. Krishna only is giving you through sun. These demigods, they do not have independent power to give something to someone. However, there is a difference between worshipping demigods and worshipping Krishna. Suppose if a 10-year-old child goes with 20 rupees to a shop and gives those 20 rupees and buys a cigarette, what will the shopkeeper do? He will give. He is a shopkeeper. But if that child goes with 20 rupees to his father and says, give me one cigarette, what will the father say? He will not say anything, but sound will come. This is the nature of demigods. Demigods, they do not have the ability to understand whatever I will give, whether it will be good for the person or bad for the person. But Krishna, being the Paramatma, he realizes what is the real intention of this person. So if you ask something inappropriate from Krishna, you break your head, you pray, you die, but he will not give you. Because it is inappropriate for you. But the demigods will give you. Because of that, you will take more births and you will get more entangled and you will suffer like anything, but they will give you. They are like shopkeepers. They are not Paramatma. So this is the difference between demigod worship and Krishna worship. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita says, in common language, if I will explain to you, if you have already gone to the head office, why do you need to go to the branch office? Are you understanding my point? If you have Krishna with you, why do you need to pray to the demigods? If you can satisfy Krishna, all the demigods will be satisfied. But if you will satisfy one demigod, the other demigods will not be satisfied. This is the difference. So therefore, approaching Shambhu Tattva, Shakti Tattva, Jiva Tattvas and demigods with the understanding that they are the supreme is an offense. I have to approach the Supreme Personality of God. Even if I go to some temple of Lord Shiva or Mother Durga or Lord Brahma, my prayer will be, oh my dear Lord Shiva, the Bhagavatam says that you are the best Vaishnav, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. You are such a nice devotee of the Lord. All the time you always think of Krishna, you never forget Krishna. Please give me 1% of your bhakti. But most 99.99% of the people who approach Lord Shiva, they don't approach him for bhakti. They approach him for house, they approach him for car, they approach him for material things. And therefore, they destroy themselves. All the people who have worshipped Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, etc., you see the kind of benedictions they ask. When Ravana saw Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati, he said, give me Parvati. And Lord Shiva is so renounced, he said, theek hai, le lo. It's a different pastime. Of course, Parvati didn't go. But Lord Shiva is like that. He's very renounced. Tell me one devotee of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu who has got a benediction from him and later misused it. Nobody. But tell me one so-called devotee of Lord Brahma or Shiva who has got a benediction and not misused it. Everybody. This proves that your best well-wisher is God, not any devatas. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvalok maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam. I am the best well-wisher of all living entities. Lord Krishna, chapter 5, Bhagavad Gita. And that position no one else can take. No one else can take. So therefore, I am going to present one table to you just to understand these demigods. Parameter, Krishna and demigods comparison. Number, Krishna is 1, but demigods are 33 crores. Nature of the body, Krishna has a Satchidananda body, but the demigods are subject to birth, death, old age and disease. Nature of work, Krishna is simply meant for enjoying. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam. He is the eternal enjoyer. That's all. But these demigods, they have very hard work of administration. They are working like you and me and IT employees only. Nature of residence, Krishna resides in the eternal Dham, where there is no need of sun, moon, fire, or electricity. The demigods, they reside in heavenly planets which is subject to destruction. Krishna is eternally the supreme. Demigod is a temporary post. When I say Surya Dev, it's a post. The name of the person who is presently the Surya Devata is Vivaswan. And he will be the Surya Devata for 71 into 4 cycles of yugas. Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, Kali is one cycle. 71 cycles, the Sarkar changes. Indra will change, Surya will change, everybody will change. Different Jiva Tattvas will occupy that position. Motivation of worship. People approach Krishna with love, but people approach demigods with material desire. Now Durga Puja is coming, people will stand in front of Mother Durga and they will pray, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Sanstha Dhanam Dehi Rupam Dehi This Dehi That Dehi 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 Dehi. Mother Durga is like, kabhi kuch mere ko bhi to de do. Sirf lene hi aate ho. Fruits of worship. If you worship Krishna, you get eternal results. Because demigods themselves are temporary, if you worship them, you get material and temporary results. How they take care? Krishna gives us what we need. Demigods give us what we want. Now, if you are less intelligent, whom will you worship? And if you are more intelligent, whom will you worship? If you worship Krishna, all the demigods are automatically satisfied. These demigods, they have power with these, they have problem with the demons and these sages because they are afraid that they will get power and they will take my position. But the demigods feel very affectionate when they see a devotee chanting Hare Krishna. They want to help them. And finally, this is the demigod and their post. So the electricity and the health department is with which demigod? And the post is sun demigod. Construction and housing is with which demigod? He is the chief engineer. Navy is with whom? Varuna, ocean demigod. You see, this one is very nice. Human and resources. Who is the demigod there? And he is your placement officer. He will decide which you have to go. Similarly, home ministry is with whom? And she will decide all the prison security and ministry and other things. Grievances department is with whom? And his task is to remove the obstacles. So similarly, finance minister is who? He is the treasurer. But who is the CEO here? This is what I want. This is a very funny presentation, but this is how people understand. So with this I end my discussion. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama.